Hey everyone, ready to take your interview game to the next level.
We're talking about those advanced strategies.
The ones that really make you shine, We're going beyond the basics today.
And, you might think you've got it all figured out.
Especially if you've been in the game for a while, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
but trust me,
Yeah.
there's always another level.
Always room to grow, right?
Exactly. This deep dive is all about those subtle things that make you truly memorable, those little details that set you apart.
The things that make you unforgettable make them want to hire you, right?
Precisely. And our guide for this is a fantastic podcast episode titled Master Your Next Interview, Advanced Tips for Professionals. I'm excited to break it down with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
So where do we begin? What's the first step to becoming that unforgettable candidate?
Well, you got to start with research,
Okay.
but not just skimming the company website.
Yeah.
We're talking deep dive.
Per trait.
Yeah, you got to go deeper, become like a mini expert on their world. Look at their recent news, dig into their financial reports, even check out competitor analysis or what people are saying about them in industry forums. You really want to understand their wins and losses, where they're headed, their challenges, the whole picture.
I see. So like if I'm interviewing with a tech company that's, really into AI right now, I shouldn't just ask a general AI question. I should show them I've done my homework.
Exactly.
So I might say something like, I saw you recently acquired that smaller AI startup focusing on natural language processing.
Right.
How do you see that tech integrating with your existing products?
Now that's impressive.
Yeah.
You're not just asking a question. You're showing you've gone beyond surface level research and you're thinking strategically about their future.
Makes them see you already fitting in.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the deep research down. We're practically experts on the company. Now, how do we make sure they see our value? Like I've heard about creating a personal value proposition.
Yes.
But it kind of sounds a little salesy, doesn't it?
It's crucial, but you're right. It's not about bragging. Think of it as giving them a concise answer to this unspoken question they have. What problem are you here to solve for us?
I get it. So instead of just listing skills, it's about showing how those skills will help them, what I bring to the table.
Precisely. You need to connect your strengths directly to their needs.
Okay, so if I'm a software engineer and they've been struggling with scaling their platform, I could say something like, my expertise in building high-performance scalable systems using cloud tech can help you tackle those growth challenges and ensure everything runs smoothly as you expand.
Perfect. You've shifted the focus from me to how I can solve your problem.
Right. They instantly see the benefit. Okay. But how do I back up those claims, those promises in the actual interview?
That's where the STAR method comes in.
Situation, task, action, result. Right.
Yes, but we're going beyond the basics here, showing not just results, but leadership, quantifiable impact, all tailored to the specific industry.
Give me an example. Like, let's say I'm a finance professional.
Okay, imagine they ask about your analytical skills. Instead of just describing a project, you could say, as a financial analyst, I was tasked with evaluating a potential merger. I did, in-depth financial modeling, including discounted cash flow analysis and different sensitivity scenarios. My recommendation, based on all that modeling, led to a strategic acquisition, which actually boosted our portfolio value by 15% within the first year.
Wow.
You see,
That's impressive.
you haven't just described actions, you've shown expertise with those industry-specific tools.
And given them numbers.
Right. Quantifiable impact on the bottom line.
Okay, so we've got research, our killer PVP, and those star stories ready to go. What else can I do to really drive home that I'm the perfect fit for this specific role and company?
It's all about tailoring your responses and asking those really insightful industry-specific questions.
Okay, so not generic questions.
Right. You need to speak their language, show them you understand their world. Imagine two different scenarios. One, you're at a fast-paced tech startup. And two, you're at a more traditional financial institution. You approach each one differently.
Right. So at the startup, I might say, I love agile environments and I'm passionate about innovating, pushing boundaries. But at the financial institution, I'd focus on my risk management experience and regulatory compliance, really highlight stability and attention to detail.
Exactly. And your questions should reflect that too.
So at the startup, I might ask about their product roadmap and how they prioritize user feedback, right? But at the financial institution, I'd ask about their cybersecurity approach and how they handle all those new regulations.
You got it. You're not just asking questions. You're already thinking like a member of their team.
Okay, wow. We covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway so far?
Preparation is everything.
Yeah.
But it's not just about memorizing answers. It's about building that knowledge base, crafting your narrative, and tailoring your approach to each company and role.
Right, make them remember you.
Exactly.
And this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back in part 2 to tackle those tricky in-the-moment scenarios, the unexpected curveballs that interviews can throw at you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive, all about acing those job interviews.
We've laid the groundwork, done our research, crafted that perfect PCP. We've got our star stories ready to shine.
Right now, it's time to tackle those in-the-moment situations, those tricky questions that can really throw you off.
I always get nervous about the "tell me about a time you failed" question.
It's a classic, right?
Yeah.
They want to see how self-aware you are, how you bounce back from setbacks.
So what's the best way to answer that? Some people say you should, disguise a strength as a weakness, say, "I'm a perfectionist."
I think it's got to be authentic.
Yeah.
Honesty is key. Pick a real failure, but frame it as a learning experience.
Show them how you grew, right?
Exactly. Think about a project where things didn't go as planned. Briefly explain what happened and what went wrong, but most importantly, focus on what you learned from it, how you improved.
Okay, so for example, I could say, in a previous role, I launched a marketing campaign that, while it didn't meet its initial goals,
Okay.
I realized I hadn't done enough research on the target audience, so I implemented a more data-driven approach, did some surveys and A/B testing, and ultimately boosted conversions by 20%.
Perfect example. You own the failure, but the focus is on your skills and how you adapted, course-corrected.
Right, turned it into a positive.
Exactly.
Now, salary expectations, that always feels like a tricky one to navigate.
It is a delicate dance.
You don't want to undersell yourself,
Yeah.
but you also don't want to scare them off.
Research is crucial here. Use resources like Glassdoor or salary surveys for your industry, your experience level, and this specific role.
Okay, so when they ask, what are your salary expectations, I shouldn't just blurt out a number.
It's better to give a range, not a fixed figure.
Yeah.
You could say, based on my research and experience, I'm aiming for a salary between number and number.
Okay.
But I'm definitely open to discussing this further based on the entire package incidents.
Yeah.
The benefits and the specific responsibilities of the role.
That sounds a lot more strategic.
Right.
Shows you've put thought into it.
It opens up the conversation.
Now, what about those curveball questions, the ones that seem designed to throw you off?
Ah, yes.
I once got asked if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? I totally froze.
Yeah, those can be intimidating.
Yeah.
They're trying to assess your creativity, how you think on your feet, even your cultural fit.
Oh, so how do you answer those without rambling?
Take a breath, gather your thoughts, and then connect your answer back to the role or their company values. So if they ask about that superpower, you could say, my superpower would be the ability to quickly analyze complex data and identify patterns,
Okay.
which would be super valuable in this data scientist role.
That's clever. You turned a weird question into a chance to highlight your skills.
Exactly. Show them you're quick on your feet and adaptable, which are important in any job, really.
True. Okay, let's talk about different interview formats. What about panel interviews? Those can be intense with so many people firing questions at you.
It can feel like an interrogation, but remember, it's a chance to connect with multiple people at the company. Try to make eye contact with each interviewer, use their names if you can, and treat it as a series of individual conversations happening in a group setting.
So build rapport with each person while still addressing the whole group?
Exactly. Show them you can communicate effectively and handle those complex group dynamics.
Okay, and what about virtual interviews? Those are becoming so common, but it's hard to replicate that in-person connection through a screen.
It's different for sure. Virtual interviews require different skills. Treat them with the same professionalism you would an in-person interview. Dress the part. Have a clean and uncluttered background, and this is really important. Test your tech beforehand. Make sure your audio and video are working properly. No one wants to spend the first 5 minutes troubleshooting.
Right, it's like setting up your virtual stage, right?
Exactly. And remember to make eye contact, which in this case means looking at the camera, not your own image on the screen.
That's hard to remember.
It takes practice.
It does. And what about body language?
Yes, sit up straight, use hand gestures, project that enthusiasm even if it's through a screen.
It's almost like performing in a way.
It is a performance in a way.
Any advice for handling those unexpected moments in general? Those times when you just feel thrown off.
The most important thing is to stay calm and composed. Focus on showing them your problem-solving skills.
So even if I don't know the perfect answer right away, it's about showing how I think.
Exactly. Show them how you process information, how you think on your feet, how you handle pressure. Those are valuable qualities in any role.
It's about being resilient, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, what's the key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
Remember, interviews are a two-way street. You're being evaluated, yes, but you're also evaluating them. So don't be afraid to ask thoughtful questions and gather the information you need to decide if this is the right company and the right role for you.
Welcome back to our deep dive. All about mastering those job interviews, those advanced tactics.
We've covered so much ground already.
We've prepped for the interview, handled those tough questions.
Right.
And now it's time to talk about what happens after you walk out the door.
A lot of people think that's it, the interview's over.
Yeah.
But really, there's still work to do.
The post-interview game.
Right, exactly. It's just as important if you want to land that dream job.
So we talked about thank you notes earlier, but are they really still important? I mean, with everything being so instant these days, emails and texts.
Oh, they absolutely matter. A good thank you note isn't just polite, it's strategic.
Okay.
It's your chance to remind them of your value, the connection you made.
Leave that lasting impression right.
Exactly. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They send those generic, cookie-cutter thank yous that don't really stand out.
Okay, so how do I make my thank you note stand out?
A few things. First, if it was a panel interview, send separate notes to each person. Second, mention something specific from your conversation. Show them you were listening, engaged.
Right.
Third, reiterate why you're excited about the role and how your skills fit their needs. And finally, keep it concise and professional.
Okay, so instead of just saying thanks for your time, I might say something like, Dear interviewer name, thank you again for that insightful conversation about specific topic. I was really interested in learning about specific thing. And as we discussed, my experience and relevant skill would let me hit the ground running and contribute to your team's success right away. I'm really excited about this opportunity and look forward to hearing from you soon.
That's great. Personalized, you highlighted your value, and you sound genuinely enthusiastic without overdoing it.
Perfect. Okay. Now, follow up. How persistent should I be? I never want to pester anyone, but also don't want to disappear.
It's all about finding that balance.
You're right.
If you haven't heard back after a week or so, maybe 7 to 10 business days,
Okay.
a polite follow-up email is perfectly acceptable.
What should that look like?
Keep it short, restate your interest, ask about the timeline for a decision, offer to answer any more questions they might have, and most importantly, don't sound desperate or pushy.
So I could say something like, Dear interviewer name, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to follow up on my interview for the position on date. Still very interested in the opportunity and would love an update on the hiring process. Happy to provide any additional information you might need. Thanks again for your time and consideration.
Perfect. You expressed continued interest without being pushy.
Now let's say all our hard work pays off and the offer arrives. Time to negotiate, right?
Absolutely. This is crucial, and it's not just about salary.
Okay.
It's about making sure you're getting a package that reflects your worth, meets your needs.
I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable negotiating, especially when they're excited about the job.
It's understandable, but remember, it's expected.
Yeah.
Employers expect you to negotiate. Go into it with a collaborative mindset. It's about finding a win-win.
So how do I even start that negotiation?
Do your research. Know the market rate for someone with your experience in this role.
Okay.
And be ready to explain your value proposition clearly and concisely.
So instead of saying, I need more money, I could say, based on my experience and relevant skill and my track record of success and achievements, I feel a salary of amount is a fair reflection of what I bring to the table.
Exactly. You're framing it as value, not a demand. You come across confident, not demanding.
Okay, what if they counter with something lower than I hoped for?
Don't be afraid to counter back. But instead of just focusing on salary, think about the whole package. Benefits, vacation time, professional development, even flexible work arrangements.
So I could say, if the salary's a bit low, could we consider an extra week of vacation or a budget for professional development courses?
Exactly. You're finding creative solutions that benefit both sides.
And what if they're just not budging on something?
Then it comes down to your priorities. What matters most to you? Would you take a slightly lower salary for better benefits or a flexible schedule? Make an informed decision based on your needs.
All right, let's fast forward. I've negotiated a great offer. I'm thrilled. Anything else I need to do to ensure a smooth transition into this new role?
Congrats. First, stay in touch with your contact at the company. Get all the paperwork done quickly and be engaged during onboarding.
So even though I haven't officially started, I should still be proactive?
Yes, It shows you're eager and committed. Also, use this time to tap into your network. Talk to people who might know the company culture or the industry.
Great idea. Get some insider perspectives.
Exactly. It's all about gathering information, making connections, and setting yourself up for success from day one.
We've covered so much in this deep dive. From prepping before the interview to negotiating the offer, it's clear that acing the interview at this level is a whole process.
It is.
That's the most important thing you want our listeners to remember.
Never stop learning and preparing. No matter how experienced you are, the job market is constantly changing, so stay adaptable, stay curious, always refine your approach.
So it's about always improving, always growing.
Exactly. The best professionals see interviews as a chance to learn and grow, not just an obstacle to overcome.
I love that perspective. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope these tips help you crush your next interview and land that dream job.